Most people think their car wears out at 180,000 miles. But here's the truth. In this video, we'll reveal car repair secrets on how to make your car last over 500,000 miles without major car repairs. We'll also debunk a myth that ruins thousands of car engines. Watch till the end for a tip that mechanics don't share with you, but can save you thousands. Let's start with an easy fix. Secret number 15, change oil every 5,000 miles, not manufacturer intervals. Here's the shocking part. Following manufacturer oil change intervals will slowly kill your engine. Let me tell you why. Manufacturers recommend 7,500 to 10,000 mile intervals to make ownership seem cheaper, but mechanics know better. Here's what most people don't know. Oil breaks down from heat and contamination long before those intervals. Here's the kicker. Professional mechanics change their personal vehicle's oil every 5,000 miles with full synthetic. The extra oil changes cost $200 per year, but prevent the $6,000 engine rebuilds that happen when people follow factory intervals. Taxi drivers and delivery services that need 500,000 plus mile engines all follow the 5,000 mile rule religiously. But here's what separates the pros from average car owners. Mechanics also use premium filters like Wix or OEM brands and check oil condition by feel. Gritty oil means change it immediately. Pro tip, they mark filters with dates and always check for leaks. This attention to detail is why their vehicles routinely exceed 300,000 miles. Speaking of maintenance intervals that save engines, this next secret involves something most people completely ignore. Secret number 14, replace air filters when they're 70% dirty. You won't believe this. Most people wait until air filters are completely black, but mechanics replace them much earlier. Here's the trick. A completely clogged filter restricts airflow and makes your engine work harder. But here's what pros know. Replace the filter when it's about 70% dirty for optimal performance and protection. Here's the solution. Check your air filter every oil change by holding it up to light. If you can't see light through most of it, replace it immediately. This $15 part replacement every 15,000 miles prevents poor fuel economy and engine damage. Clean air filters help engines breathe properly and last longer. Here's what most people don't realize. Mechanics check the filter housing for cracks and clean the mass airflow sensor while they're there. Pro tip, a clogged filter reduces power by 10% and hurts fuel economy by 15%, but most drivers never check it until their mechanic shows them. Trust me, this next diagnostic secret takes 60 seconds and can save you thousands. Secret number 13, plug your car with scan tools. Here's something mechanics do on every inspection. They use OBD scanners to read live engine data, not just check codes when the check engine light comes on. Here's how it works. Plug in a $30 scanner and check live data like oxygen sensor readings, fuel trims, and coolant temperature while the engine runs. Mechanics spot problems before they trigger warning lights by watching sensors that are starting to drift out of range. Let me explain why this matters. Catching a failing oxygen sensor early costs $150 to replace, but waiting until it damages your catalytic converter costs $2,500. Fleet mechanics use live data to predict component failures months before they leave you stranded. A $30 scanner can literally prevent thousands in emergency repairs. But here's the advanced technique. Mechanics also check readiness monitors and fuel trims to spot issues like vacuum leaks or injector problems. You'd be surprised by this next habit that destroys expensive fuel system components. Secret number 12, never run below quarter tank. You'll be shocked. Running below quarter tank systematically destroys your fuel pump. Here's how it works. Fuel pumps need fuel for cooling and lubrication. Run low regularly and the pump overheats, leading to a $600 replacement. But here's what professionals know. Keep your tank above quarter full and your fuel pump will last 200,000 plus miles. This simple $5 habit prevents expensive fuel system repairs. Professional drivers never let tanks drop below 1/4 because they know pump failure means lost income. Here's the secret that mechanics learned. Keeping tanks full prevents water condensation and fuel contamination. Pro tip, use top-tier gasoline and avoid filling up when tanker trucks are delivering fuel because it stirs up sediment that clogs your filter. Speaking of expensive failures, this next secret involves your AC system. Secret number 11, fix AC leaks, don't just recharge. Here's what mechanics see daily. Customers who keep recharging AC instead of fixing leaks, slowly destroying their compressor. Pro tip, Every time you lose refrigerant, you lose the oil that lubricates your compressor. Keep recharging without fixing leaks, and your compressor will seize, costing $1,000 plus. Here's what smart mechanics do. Find the leak first using UV dye, then fix it. A $20 O-ring replacement now saves your entire AC system later. Also run your AC monthly, even in winter, to keep seals lubricated and prevent leaks. But here's the professional approach. Mechanics use electronic leak detectors and always replace the receiver dryer when opening systems. Pro tip: they test system pressures with gauges rather than guessing. Mixing refrigerant oils destroys compressors instantly. Wait until you hear about this transmission maintenance secret that mechanics use on their own cars. Secret number 10. Change transmission fluid every 60,000 miles. Let me tell you what professional mechanics do. They ignore lifetime fluid claims and change transmission fluid regularly. Here's the secret. Mechanics change their transmission fluid every 60,000 miles, regardless of what the manual says. They know transmission fluid breaks down from heat and use. Here's how it works. Fresh transmission fluid prevents the clutch pack damage and valve body problems that destroy transmissions around 150,000 miles. Professional mechanics see transmissions fail daily because customers believed the lifetime fluid marketing. A $200 service every 60,000 miles prevents $4,000 transmission replacements. Here's what separates professionals from quick lube places. They use exact manufacturer fluid and drop the pan to replace the filter. Pro tip: burnt-smelling brown fluid means damage already occurred, and CVTs need changes every 30,000 miles, while some newer transmissions can go 80,000. Before we move on with the next tip, if you're getting value from these professional secrets, hit that like button. We've got 9 more secrets that could save you thousands. Trust me, this next one involves a critical safety system. Secret number 9, test brake fluid every 2 years. You'll be surprised. Mechanics test brake fluid regularly because it absorbs water and becomes dangerous. Here's the solution. Brake fluid absorbs moisture and becomes corrosive. After 3 years, it can boil during normal driving, causing brake failure. But here's the pro tip. Mechanics use a $20 moisture tester to check brake fluid every 2 years. When moisture hits 3%, they flush the system. This prevents the brake line corrosion and ABS pump failures that cost $1,500 plus to repair. Fresh brake fluid also gives you better pedal feel and stopping power. Here's the advanced technique. Mechanics test fluid at master cylinder and each wheel, then bleed brakes in correct sequence. Pro tip: dark brown fluid means contamination, black fluid indicates seal failure, and copper content warns of brake line corrosion. This next secret involves the most neglected fluid in your car. Secret number 8. Change power steering fluid every 50,000 miles. You'll be shocked. Mechanics regularly change power steering fluid, but most car owners never touch it. Here's how you solve it. Power steering fluid gets contaminated with metal particles from normal wear. This contaminated fluid destroys seals and pumps, leading to $800 steering rack replacements. But here's what mechanics know. Change power steering fluid every 50,000 miles with a turkey baster. Suck out old fluid, add new fluid, drive around the block, repeat. This $10 maintenance prevents hundreds in steering system repairs that mechanics see constantly. Here's the professional technique. Mechanics check fluid compatibility first and inspect the high-pressure hose during changes. Pro tip: most systems use ATF, but some require specific power steering fluid. Using the wrong type destroys seals and pumps. You won't believe this next secret about spark plugs. Secret number 7. Replace spark plugs based on condition, not mileage. Here's what mechanics actually do. They replace spark plugs based on how they look, not arbitrary mileage intervals. Let me tell you the solution. Mechanics pull spark plugs every 60,000 miles to inspect them. If the electrodes are worn or deposits are heavy, they replace them regardless of the 100,000 mile rating. But here's the pro tip. Worn spark plugs cause misfires that damage catalytic converters. Mechanics prevent this by replacing plugs when they start showing wear. Fresh spark plugs improve fuel economy, reduce emissions, and prevent expensive catalytic converter damage. Here's what professionals do. They read spark plugs, like diagnostic tools. White deposits mean lean running, black means rich mixture. Pro tip: they check plug gaps with feeler gauges and apply anti-seize compound to prevent seizure in aluminum heads. This next secret involves cooling system maintenance that prevents engine destruction. Secret number 6. Flush coolant every 60,000 miles. Trust me, this will surprise you. Mechanics flush cooling systems regularly because old coolant becomes acidic and eats engines. Here's the shocking part. Coolant doesn't just prevent freezing, it prevents corrosion. Old coolant becomes acidic and corrodes water pumps, radiators, and head gaskets. But here's what mechanics know. Flush coolant every 60,000 miles, regardless of color. Acidic coolant causes the cooling system failures that destroy engines. Fresh coolant with proper pH protects your engine and prevents the overheating damage that kills motors around 150,000 miles. Here's the professional approach. Mechanics test coolant pH and check for electrolysis with a multimeter. Pro tip: they replace thermostats during flushes and pressure test the system after service to find weak spots before they fail. Here's what master cooling system technicians do that most shops skip. They reverse flush heater cores and radiators to remove scale buildup that blocks heat transfer and causes overheating. Let me tell you why this matters. Restricted coolant flow creates hot spots that warp cylinder heads, even when temperature gauges show normal readings. Pro tip: mechanics also inspect coolant passages in the engine block for corrosion pitting that indicates internal damage from acidic coolant. The shocking part? They can save engines caught early by neutralizing acid damage with specialized cleaners. But most drivers wait until expensive components fail before addressing cooling system chemistry. Here's a secret about timing belt replacement that saves engines. Secret number 5. Replace timing belts early. Here's what mechanics do on their own cars. They replace timing belts before the recommended interval. Let me explain why this matters. Timing belt failure destroys engines instantly on interference motors. Mechanics know belts can fail without warning, so they replace them early. Here's the trick. Mechanics replace timing belts every 80,000 miles instead of waiting for 100,000 plus. The $600 belt job prevents the $6,000 engine rebuild that happens when belts snap. Professional mechanics never gamble with timing belts because they've seen too many destroyed engines. Here's what separates professional services from cheap ones. Mechanics always replace water pump, tensioner, and idler pulleys during belt replacement. Pro tip: they can hear timing belt problems before failure. Worn tensioners make noise that most drivers ignore until expensive damage occurs. But here's the advanced diagnostic technique that prevents timing belt disasters. Mechanics use timing lights and scan tools to check cam and crank sensor correlation, catching timing problems before belt failure occurs. Here's what most people don't know. Timing belts stretch over time, causing retarded cam timing that reduces power and increases emissions even before complete failure. Let me tell you what smart mechanics do. They mark timing belt position during removal and check for belt stretch using special gauges. Pro tip: mechanics also inspect timing belt covers for oil contamination, because even small oil leaks destroy new belts within months, requiring complete replacement and additional sealing work that doubles repair costs. This next secret involves a $5 part that can save your engine. Secret number 4. Replace PCV valves every 60,000 miles. Think this tiny part doesn't matter? Think again. Mechanics replace PCV valves regularly because failure destroys engines. Here's what most people don't know. The PCV valve relieves crankcase pressure. When it fails, pressure builds up and blows out seals, causing massive oil leaks. But here's the trick. Mechanics replace this $5 valve every 60,000 miles to prevent oil leaks and engine damage. A failed PCV valve can cause rear main seal failure, valve cover gasket leaks, and even engine breathing problems. It's a cheap part that prevents expensive repairs. Here's what professionals do. They test PCV valves by shaking them. No rattle means replacement needed. Pro tip: stuck closed valves cause oil leaks, while stuck open valves cause rough idle. And most drivers blame other problems instead. Here's what master technicians know about PCV systems that most mechanics miss. Modern engines use complex PCV systems with multiple valves, separators, and heated hoses that require complete system service, not just valve replacement. Let me tell you what happens when mechanics skip system cleaning. Oil separators clog with sludge, causing the same pressure problems as failed valves. Pro tip: smart mechanics also check intake manifold vacuum during PCV service because worn engines need different valve designs to function properly. The crazy part? Mechanics use PCV system performance to diagnose internal engine wear. Excessive crankcase pressure indicates worn rings or cylinder damage that requires engine rebuild consideration rather than just PCV valve replacement. You'd be surprised by this next secret about fuel system maintenance. It will save you thousands in repairs. Secret number 3, replace fuel filters regularly. Here's something mechanics do religiously. Replace fuel filters to prevent expensive fuel system damage. Here's the shocking part. Clogged fuel filters make fuel pumps work harder and burn out faster. They also let contamination reach your injectors. But here's the solution. Mechanics replace fuel filters every 30,000 miles on older cars and follow severe service intervals. Clean filters protect your $600 fuel pump and $800 fuel injectors. This $40 part replacement prevents thousands in fuel system repairs that mechanics see weekly. Here's what separates professional service from parts store advice. Mechanics relieve fuel pressure before replacement and inspect fuel lines for deterioration. Pro tip: if filters clog quickly, it indicates contaminated fuel or tank problems that need addressing. But here's what fuel system specialists do that prevents expensive failures. They perform complete fuel system diagnosis using pressure gauges and flow meters to identify restriction points before component damage occurs. Here's the shocking truth. Many fuel pump failures are actually caused by clogged filters or restricted fuel lines that force pumps to work beyond design limits. Let me tell you what smart mechanics discovered. Testing fuel pressure at multiple points identifies exactly where restrictions occur, preventing unnecessary pump replacement. Pro tip: mechanics also inspect fuel tank ventilation systems during filter service because clogged evap systems create vacuum that collapses fuel tanks and damages pumps. The advanced technique? They use fuel quality test kits to identify contaminated fuel that requires tank cleaning before expensive fuel system components fail repeatedly. This next secret can save you $200 every tire replacement. Secret number 2, downsize your wheels. Here's what mechanics recommend. Smaller wheels save huge money on tires and prevent damage. Let me explain. 20-inch tires cost $240 each, while 17-inch tires cost $140 each. That's $400 savings per set, plus you avoid rim damage from potholes. Here's how it works. If your car came with smaller wheels on base models, you can downsize. Many mechanics do this on their personal vehicles. Sell your large wheels for $500, $800, buy 17-inch wheels for $300, and save hundreds on every tire replacement while getting a smoother ride. Here's what professional mechanics consider. They calculate overall diameter for speedometer accuracy and ensure brake clearance. Pro tip: smaller wheels mean fewer bent rims and tire damage, plus slightly better fuel economy from reduced weight. Here's what tire and wheel specialists know that saves customers thousands. They match wheel offset and backspacing precisely to prevent suspension wear and handling problems that large wheel swaps often create. Let me tell you what happens when mechanics ignore wheel specifications. Incorrect offset causes premature wheel bearing failure and tire wear patterns that destroy expensive tires quickly. Pro tip: smart mechanics also consider load ratings when downsizing, because lighter wheels reduce unsprung weight, but must still handle vehicle loads safely. The advanced approach? They calculate rolling circumference changes and reprogram speedometers when necessary, ensuring accurate readings and preventing transmission shift problems that occur when computers receive incorrect speed signals from mismatched wheel and tire combinations. And now, the number 1 secret mechanics use to make engines last forever. Secret number 1, use engine oil analysis. Here's the secret that will shock you. Professional mechanics use oil analysis to determine perfect oil change intervals for maximum engine life. Here's the solution. Instead of guessing, mechanics send oil samples to labs every 5,000 miles to see exactly when oil breaks down in their specific engine and driving conditions. Here's the kicker. Oil analysis costs $30, but tells you if your oil is still good at 7,500 miles or needs changing at 4,000 miles. This scientific approach helps mechanics optimize oil change intervals for maximum engine protection. Engines maintained with oil analysis data routinely exceed 500,000 miles because the oil is changed based on actual condition, not arbitrary intervals. Here's what professionals do with oil analysis. They track trends over time to predict failures months in advance. Pro tip: Increasing iron means cylinder wear. Rising copper suggests bearing problems, and analysis can justify extended drain intervals while maintaining superior protection. But here's what master diagnosticians do with oil analysis that predicts engine failures with scientific precision. They correlate wear metal trends with driving patterns to identify problems like contaminated fuel, incorrect oil specifications, or cooling system issues before expensive damage occurs. Here's the advanced technique. Mechanics establish baseline readings when engines are new, then monitor deviation patterns that indicate developing problems months before symptoms appear. Let me tell you what separates professional analysis from basic testing. They track additive depletion rates to determine optimal oil formulations for specific engines and operating conditions. Pro tip: smart mechanics use oil analysis to justify warranty claims by proving proper maintenance when engine failures occur, and they can optimize fleet maintenance schedules to minimize downtime, while maximizing component life through scientific oil monitoring rather than guesswork intervals. If you were able to get valuable information that could save you on thousands of unnecessary repairs, and if you know most of these tips already, comment down below. We'll be happy to read them. Actually, there are car habits you want to avoid because it ruins your car and wastes your money. Click this video if you like saving money. Trust me, you won't regret it.